Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. My name is Gabriel Morton, and I present for all of the nations and all of the world the most advanced concept of the physics through the story. This program is dedicated to greatest scientists in the world, especially Lawrence, who is an atheist and is maybe my friend later, we will see later. Dedication to Lawrence. My name is Gabriel Morton, and I describe in this session Gabrielism program number 54, the most advanced concept of the relativity through simple stories. And this story is about the pleasures of the physics. I just can say I deprived myself from the most pleasures of the life, and this pleasure is obviously wife and children, having wife and children. The same done by Albert Einstein, Hawking, Edison, Elon Musk, and many other scientists. The pleasure of the science, especially the pleasure of the physics. Newton, who was the most smart scientist, more than any other else, he never married. And that was because of the pleasure of the physics. Before the Big Bang, a story, all right, started right now. Before the Big Bang, God, who had the powerful Hercules body, and his face was like Jesus, was watching his Newtonian watch. God was watching his Newtonian hand watch. And every second, he was beating on huge iron plate using a huge hammer. Every second, based on Newtonian time, and every second, God was beating by hammer over iron plate. Every second for God was starting a new creation. Every second for God was a Big Bang. Each time that God beat it on iron, sparkles were going around in every direction. Those were galaxies. That was the permanent job for God, beating on iron and create trillion galaxies. The life of these galaxies for God was less than a second. Then God took back his hammer and watched his watch. Every beating was starting for a new world, and just took less than a second for God. Then that was absolute darkness. The death of sparkles was less than a second, and then was absolute darkness. All were happening for God less than a second. And that was the permanent job for God. Doing this, beating by hammer, make a new creation, watching his watch, take his hammer back, and make ready himself to make new sparkles in the world. All were happening less than a second at the time that God was watching his watch.